What's going on? MLB DFS Playbook live show here, 5 o'clock Eastern on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. I'm Jonathan Impemba with James Grande breaking down today's Tuesday 13-game monster slate. James had a nice little Memorial Day weekend. You and I broke down yesterday's early slate. We talked about this morning's first look. Now here we are. Lineups are set. Vegas odds are updated. How you feeling about everything, man?
I mean, it's a big slate. There's so many different directions you can go. And the one thing that I will say that I've liked a lot about these bigger slates, especially in MLB, is that like no team is particularly chalky and no team is like that much more popular where if you don't play them, you're dead in the water. Like that doesn't exactly exist. Where like you and I have obviously extensive NBA history, like that is not the case in NBA. Even when like 13 game slates, there is clear chalk, and that just isn't really the case. Like the Braves and the Dodgers are checking in pretty popular, but like at a very small scale compared to yesterday, where offenses, the Braves on in the PM slate were like 50% in the morning. Who was the chalk in the morning? The Cardinals got shot at almost
Right.
perfected. Or like Royce Lewis was only 20%. Like, so I like this like ownership distribution on today's main slate. There's really good pitching. There's very good value to get to the high price pitching. There's
Right.
a lot of really good high price hitters too that we want to get to. So it's a fun 13 game slate. MLB DFS playbook up now on Fantasy Alarm. My value plays up on Fantasy Alarm right now. So it's a really good slate. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, we'll kick it off, man. Let's just go into pitching because we got a lot to talk about. We'll make some lineups here at the end of the show here as well. If you guys want to get in on the action, type your question in the chat. James and I will be more than happy to give you some lineup advice, some either ors, maybe some bets there as well. So type it in the chat, get involved. If you're listening in and you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, there promo code MLB50 when you go to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro, save you 50% off the first 6 months. That's $19.98 a month. For the first 6 months, you get access to all of our DFS content, not just for baseball, but all sports as well. And you get access to our premium Discord where we're in there, myself's in there, Howard Bender's in there, Justin Vreeland, the whole crew in there answering questions. Henry Wilson, Colby Conway, everybody's in there answering your lineup questions for DFS and seasonal. So no better time than now to join the family. Get that 50% off for the first 6 months. James, pitching here. Again, a lot of pitchers, so we talk about it. On big slates like this, you kind of have to narrow down your field of view here. Narrow down your player pools, kind of identify the matchups you certainly want to target versus the ones maybe you're on edge, you fade. When we're looking at Shane McClanahan, Joe Ryan, Zach Gallen, Logan Gilbert up all over $10,000 here today, where are you kind of staking your flag when it comes to that top end starting pitching?
I would say I'm gonna look at McClanahan and Zach Gallen. Those would be the two guys over 10K I'm interested in. We saw the Yankees offense destroy Seattle pitching last night. Aaron Judge was obviously the main reason why, but the Yankees offense is hot. Logan Gilbert can be hit. Like, home runs allowed in back-to-back starts. Not really a guy who like shuts the door down per se. So a little scared to get there. I know it's a good pitcher's ballpark. Joe Ryan has to face a Houston offense pretty much at full strength. And, for as good as Joe Ryan has been, and he's been really good at stranding runners this year, I mean, 6, 7, 4, 8 hits the last 4 games. It's not like, he's not just allowing base runners. He has. So 11-1 for him doesn't really pique my interest, but like Gallen gets a bad Colorado offense against right-handed pitching. He's one of the biggest favorites on the board. He's one of the most popular options on the board. He has as much of an upside as a ceiling as any other pitcher. He's gone for 39 fantasy points 3 times this year already, including 40 in a start. We know the strikeout equity is there for Gallen as well. I know, although it's been down in the last 2 starts, I expect that to pick up here against Colorado. And then McClanahan, currently the odds-on favorite right now on DraftKings Sportsbook for American League Cy Young. 7+ strikeouts and a whole bunch of starts, 4 of his last 5 overall. 25 fantasy points and 4 of his last 5 overall. Like, the dude is just nasty. And I know the Cubs have some pretty good numbers against left-handed pitching. I do understand that. And that's obviously taken into consideration, but he's just too good. So
Yeah.
for me, over 10K, it's McClanahan, it's Gallen, and then moving on down because I think there's actually a lot of good pitching options below.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think there's going to be some chalk down here. Bryce Elder against Oakland. A lot of people will be looking at him. I mean,
Yep.
we talk about it. 2 ERA on the year. He's 3-0. A little bit of strikeout potential there in this matchup, given the strikeout upside that Oakland tends to present starting pitchers. I know yesterday, obviously, Oakland did put up some runs here, but Elder just really pitching strong. At least 6 innings in 6 of his 9 starts this year as well. So doing pretty good in the that department there. What are your thoughts on Senga here? You're looking at the Philly lineup today. No Bryce Harper. Senga has pitched a lot better at home. I know sometimes where the home road splits are what they are, but 4 starts at home this year. 1.5 ERA versus 5 on the road, where he's got a 6.12. Any interest in Kodai Senga here? Maybe going overlooked at $9,700.
Yeah, some. Like, Philly is in the top half of strikeout rate against right-handed pitching too, so it's not like all that crazy to think that Senga outscores some of the people priced ahead of him. And like you mentioned, Bryce Elder is going to be pretty popular. Currently, the 3rd highest projected owned pitcher of the slate. So but to be fair, Senga 5th, so he doesn't look like he's going that over owned. But again, we have 9, 10 pitchers from what I'm seeing with 10 plus percent ownership. So a slate that's really depressed. So nobody other than Zach Gallen has more than 20% rostership. So you're pretty much different everywhere
Right.
else other than Gallen. Yeah, I mean, I think Senga could be an interesting pivot off of Bryce Elder, who is slightly more popular, who is probably ultimately going to be significantly more, if I had to guess, especially in cash
Yeah.
games, because nobody does strike out more than Oakland against righties. And that strikeout rate over the last 2 weeks has only gone up
Right.
against righties for Oakland. So, yeah, I think Senga is an interesting pivot against the lineup that, without Bryce Harper, now has struggling pieces pretty much all over the place other than
Yeah,
Nick
the
Castellanos.
Phillies lineup here. I mean, obviously, Schwarber's a high strikeout guy there. The bottom of their lineup: Bohm, Marsh, Cody Clemens, and Guthrie. That's what they're throwing out there at the bottom of that lineup here. So we always talk about it. If you can just navigate yourself around like that top of the order, it gets a little bit easier. Walks have obviously been a big issue for Kodai Senga this year, but you're just taking out a big power bat. In my PrizePicks video today, I put the strikeout prop for Yusei Kikuchi in there, over 5.5 strikeouts. The more you look at it, I don't know, James, I got to ask you, are you feeling more into Kikuchi here today, going up against the Milwaukee Brewers, who on the year against left-handed pitching have a 30.4% strikeout rate? They rank dead last in WOBA, dead last in batting average against, they're just one of the worst teams in baseball against lefties here. Kikuchi, as we mentioned, his numbers on the surface don't look great, but he's faced Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Atlanta, Boston, New York, Tampa Bay, like some pretty strong offenses here. That isn't going to be the case here tonight. He's been also, much better at home on the year for whatever, again, that's worth. 3.5 ERA at home versus 5.2 on the road. Any interest in Yusei Kikuchi at $8,400 here?
Yeah, I mean, he's facing a pretty bad Brewers lineup in general. Darren Ruff leading off in the year 2023. And I know, to be fair to Darren Ruff, he has hit lefties pretty much his entire career. That wasn't a slight at Darren Ruff, but really in no scenario is Darren Ruff a leadoff hitter in most MLB lineups. Owen Miller has been good. But after William Contreras, Yelich hitting 4th doesn't really hit lefties. Brian Anderson, we know, doesn't hit lefties. Mike Brousseau has not been the same against lefties as he has been in years past. And then Weimer, Taylor, Monasterio, not exactly your
right?
Very scary lineup here. Now, still, the issue with Kikuchi is the home runs. Even though he has pitched better at home, still has allowed 5 home runs, still has allowed 14 home runs on the year. It is a very terrifying thing using Yusei Kikuchi because the fly ball rate is so elevated and the home run rate is so elevated. But I could see myself getting there. I wanted to ask, like, again, John, this has been kind of a trend that you and I, every slate that the Yankees have had Nestor Cortez going to the mound, he's one of the highest projected owned pitchers. And again, you and I were like, probably just going to fade
Right.
him here. And
it's worked out for us more often than it hasn't. And then I'm sure nobody played him against Toronto, and he goes for 22 fantasy points. So, I'm going to again just fade Nestor Cortez here.
Yeah, second highest rostered pitcher of the slate. And don't look now, Julio Rodriguez, like I was trying to scream from the rooftops, another 2-hit home run game yesterday. Like, Seattle just kind of coming around. I think it's just like not Nestor. This is not Nestor's season, at least the beginning half of this season. So I don't really get the ownership again. Now, if you can only play one, because they're a similar price, Cortez or Kikuchi, you'd play Yusei?
Yeah, I'm going to play Yusei. I might even go down a little bit further and play Gonsolin over Cortez as well. Like if I'd more so be likely to pitch those two than Nestor here tonight.
I agree, and I think you and I and that's just the AK tier because I think you and I are going to get to like a handful of guys below even that we like. Mainly two names in Kyle Gibson. And
our guy Mark Pitts wants to know: is there a better time to pitch Kyle Gibson than today against Cleveland? I would say yes. Last start against the Yankees probably would have been.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah,
I think why would you not? You probably missed that opportunity there, Mark. But the Yankees would have been when I would have probably pitched him.
Agreed. Probably would have.
But yeah, listen, Kyle Gibson here tonight, obviously going up against Cleveland, is my other PrizePicks play tonight. I took tell me where I am. I'm being trapped here. His fantasy score prop on PrizePicks tonight was 27.5 using FanDuel scoring.
FanDuel scoring. So quality
start, win. They only lose points for earned runs allowed. 27.5. He's gone over 40 in each of the last two.
Right.
Again, I get he's not going to strike out a lot of guys here tonight. But the fact that you're not going to give up, you don't get points taken away. He should get the win. He should pitch deep enough to get a quality start. I feel like I'm being trapped by the 27.5, but the number looked too good to pass up. He's been way better at home this year as well. 3.04 ERA at home. We talk about it. The ballpark changes that Baltimore made last year, much more pitcher friendly than hitter friendly with the way they move the walls. So, yeah, Mark, I agree with you. Like, there are on a big slate. We always talk about it. James likes to play a little bit lighter, plays the 3 max, kind of expand your exposure here. Gibson in the mid tier, I think, is fantastic. Brian Bayo is another one at 7K that I am a fan of tonight as well.
Yeah, so maybe I'm missing something in a couple of places that I've looked for ownership, and nobody's playing Kyle Gibson. I feel like that's wrong. Maybe we're going to get an update prior to roster luck, but as of now, from what I'm seeing, very low on Kyle Gibson seems pretty obvious to me, especially if no one's going to play him because he's been so good against two elite offenses.
DraftKings dropped his price $200. So
and the start before was in Toronto.
Right.
Like he's coming off back-to-back starts of in Toronto in Yankee Stadium, 1 earned in 14 innings, both wins. Let's just cut his price in half. When he faces the team ranked 29th in WOBA, 30th in ISO. 30th in 29th in OPS. I didn't give them their flowers there. 30th in WOBA, 30th in ISO. So, yeah, I mean, that's like, you were always right. And I was always wrong. They're terrible. They're terrible. I'm sorry for anyone that roots for Cleveland. I'm sorry. You know, they're just a bad offense. Shout out to Kangas. I mean, listen, look at the profanity across this man's timeline. It's not just, it's all Lakers and Guardians yelling, but Bayo's been awesome. The field is actually kind of catching up to him here. But something I wrote up in my Value Vault article today, or my Value Plays article over at FantasyAlarm.com, is the Reds have one of the lowest ground ball rates this year against right-handed pitching, they're going to have a rude awakening if they're trying to hit the ball in the air against Brian Bayo, because he has a 60% ground ball rate this year. And pair that with the strikeouts, isn't this kind of like, this is like Marcus Stroman-esque. Like, we just got the Stroman domination complete game shutout yesterday, where all Bayo and Stroman are doing right now is quality starts, strikeouts, ground balls, nothing else. And those type of pitchers are kind of like, if you're not like striking out 10 plus people a game, it's like kind of like you're kind of pushed to the side, right? Like you're not really cared about. But Bayo continues to be awesome. Cincinnati, bottom 10 in OPS. They're like 18th in most other categories, so still bottom half of the league. I love Bayo 7K. Him and Kyle Gibson, two of my favorite plays.
Brian Bayo is a former top prospect in baseball, top 100 prospect in MLB. People will kind of look at what his numbers are. It's like, oh, he's got a 4 ERA over, his 7 starts. But, his first couple of starts of the year were pretty rough. If you want to just look at the month of May, 2.74 ERA during the month of May, 23 strikeouts and 23 innings. So, just again, a lot of things kind of starting to round into form. He had some pretty tough batted ball luck last year against him as well, and that started to round into shape at the end of the year. So, we definitely are in on some Bayo here at 7K. Thoughts on Miles Mikolas? I know you mentioned him during the podcast this morning. Lukewarm, getting warmer, colder. Are you in or out on him here?
I am like just kind of indifferent, and it's primarily because on this slate, and I know like I'm playing Elder and I'm playing McClanahan, but in some lineups where I'm playing Braves, right? I have my lineups built already. Braves or Dodgers are two of my favorite stacks. Surprise, surprise. That's two of the more popular. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot afford like to waste a single dollar. I'd rather just save $700 to get to Brian Bayo, who has had a more consistent floor than Miles Mikolas. And truthfully, who's to say he doesn't have as high of upside? Like, he has 20 fantasy points or more in each of his last 2 starts. If that Angels start is a win, we're talking about a guy with 24 fantasy points, right? That's basically been Mikolas' ceiling. So, for pretty much a similar ceiling and even a better floor, I'll just save the money. I think it's a fine spot. But lefties still give Mikolas way too many issues. And, the top of that KC lineup has some pretty good lefties, like Pasquantino and Nick Prado. Melendez had a triple and two was on base like 4 times yesterday. Yeah. So neutral on Miles Mikolas. Truth.
Anybody else here, pitcher you want to touch on, or are we ready to move on to catcher?
I don't think we need to stray into these sickening waters.
Okay, sounds good to me. Over at the catcher position, again, I know you mentioned you're in on Dodgers. Have to assume Will Smith is part of those plans?
Yeah, so it's really hard to want to spend up at catcher today, John. You and I talked about this on the podcast. And you can, if you want. Like, I played Will Smith in one of my lines because I'm playing a Dodger stack. I feel wrong not having Will Smith not in the middle of that. He's very good. Irvin's gonna regress against righties. But I just don't really care for the rest of this tier. Like, Sean Murphy gets a lefty, that's great. I'm very happy for Sean Murphy. He's probably he's a great player.
Yeah.
But Francisco Alvarez is hitting second tonight at $3,100. And Gabriel Moreno's hitting like 400 against lefties at $3,200. That's just where I'm going.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a Shane McClanahan at 11.4, or you have a Zach Gallen at 10.7. This isn't a slate where the top pitcher on the slate is $9,300. Like, we need to save money. Why not go to a guy at 3,200 hitting second who's hit 5 home runs in his last 8 games? Or why not go to a guy at 3,200 who's hitting 400 against lefties with a 250 ISO in both of his home runs? Like, that just feels like the best bang for your buck. Yeah. I don't know if you disagree at all or want to play anyone else, but I
definitely don't disagree. If you want to go like super cheap down, you have Reese McGuire and Zavala down there, obviously, in their correct splits, but no, No reason to really punt down. We've been in on Gabriel Moreno all season long. You guys have been, everybody's been touting Francisco Alvarez, and just to get him in the lineup, let him play. Like, why are we messing around with El Gary and all these guys, right? Like, play Alvarez. He's in the lineup. He's hitting home runs. There he is, hitting second tonight. So, I'm 100% with you. Those are the two lock and load catcher spots for me. I don't really see a need to play anybody else there. So, outside of like contrarian stacks, I guess would be.
Yeah. Well, it's like so Braves and Dodgers are your two most popular stacks. Smith and Sean Murphy, and to some extent, if Darno makes the lineup, sure. Like, right? Like, you add them to your stacks. The Braves have very cheap outfield options if you want to get there, like Marcell Ozuna and Kevin Pillar, both under 3K. The Dodgers have some very cheap outfield options. James Outman's under 4K. Like,
you had a Kevin Pillar home run call, by the way, in your home run thread.
There was a Kevin Pillar sighting in the home run call. We can get to it later because he does have good lefty numbers, and I actually had Kevin Pillar in one of my 3 lineups already. So, like, that was a surprise. It was not a surprise to see Kevin Pillar, like, show up in the DFS realm, but, like, in a home run call was definitely a little surprise.
Yeah. We'll touch upon that when we get to outfield for sure. Let's move on to first base then here. Again, obviously, you're in on some of these top guys here. Our guy Justin Vreeland's willing to die until Peter Alonso homers. $5,500 for him, hitting 4th here today. Freddie Freeman gets Irvin at $5,300. We're not really afraid of Matt Olson against lefties, rather, if you wanted to go there at 52. And Shohei Ohtani against Giolito is 6K. But again, another guy with just tremendous power. Do you find yourself wanting to spend up at first base today, James?
Yeah, I mean, there's a case to be made for every tier. I think the 3 guys you pinpointed are perfect examples of why you would want to spend up. Ohtani, another home run tweet I got was Ohtani has 9 home runs career in 25 games against the White Sox. Take that for what it's worth. It's from a White Sox fan, Bennett Carroll. Shout out, Better Sports Network alum. Alonso is up against a guy allowing like a 250 ISO to right-handed pitching, and we know he has more power than any other human maybe on the planet with a baseball bat. And then Freddie Freeman has a 411 WOBA against a guy who's allowing a 367 WOBA, 250 ISO, 56% fly ball rate, and a 40% hard hit rate to lefties. Like, I could see myself getting to any of them. I think Freeman is my favorite of the group, with Alonso second, Ohtani third, but I don't think there's a wrong answer going to any of them.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. Again, all kind of fits into your stacks here. If we're going down under 5K, Christian Walker's at 46. I know the struggles have been there, but a guy that has hit left-handed pitching tremendously over the course of his career. I like Pasquantino again against Mikolas at $3,800. I think that offense is just always kind of primed to break out there. Andrew Vaughn against Anderson at $3,400, hitting 6. I know we like some White Sox here tonight. And then Kirilloff hitting 5th at $3,200. James, we say it every show. We are big Minnesota Twins fans here. There isn't a slate that goes by where we don't play Minnesota, it feels like. But tonight feels like a Minnesota Twins night, and they're all cheap enough that they don't have to be your main stack. They can be your stack 2 to go around with some of those big boys.
Dude, seeing Buxton, Kirilloff, Royce Lewis 4, 5, 6 was a dream. Yeah. That was a dream scenario. And truthfully, Joey Gallo leading off is first base eligible too. I know that you could play him or Kirilloff first in outfield. They're both multi-position eligible. Joey Gallo with a 343 ISO against right-handed pitching this year. Kirilloff 408 WOBA against right-handed pitching, 170 ISO. And Brandon Bielak striking guys out at a pretty solid clip, but not lefties. He's been striking righties out, which is funny because he's also getting demolished by right-handed bats. But lefties, 344 WOBA, 167 ISO against Bielak, 40% fly ball rate, 42% hard hit rate. Dude, if your chart had colors, there would be a lot of green you'd be seeing
I
for
haven't
the
checked my
Twins.
chart in a while to see if I got upgraded, but I don't think I have. I still don't think I have
See
colors.
if I can upgrade it. There is a lot of green, on the side of the Minnesota Twins. I, if I'm like, they just
Still no
make
colors.
so much sense. They just sorry to hear it. They just make so much sense as your secondary stacks today. Like Royce Lewis again was the first person I plugged today. The first person we plugged on the podcast this morning. The first person we pretty much plugged yesterday. Just 2K. Like he's stone cold 2K hitting six. Look how good he was in his rehab. His yesterday was debuts, hits home run, drives in another run. This whole Twins lineup is affordable. Like Buxton is the only one that's not. Their second hitter, Edward Julian, 298 ISO against right. Like love the Twins.
Yeah.
Love them. Kirilloff, Gallo, whoever you want to plug, John. I could not make a stronger case than today. They're going to score 2 runs, so sorry in advance. But I can't wait to play Minnesota tonight.
Again, I got 3 lineups, all variations of Minnesota plus.
same.
So, whatever. We'll go down with the ship, or we're gonna stand on top here tonight.
We sure are.
All right. So those are the first base that I like. Anybody I hadn't mentioned that you're in on here tonight?
Not really. I mean, you mentioned Prado, Andrew Vaughn's for whatever reason hitting 6th. Like he's historically hit lefties better. That hasn't been the case this year, but historically has. The White Sox lineup is really interesting with Eloy back. Robert Eloy 3-4, and then Jake Berger's hitting 2nd tonight, John. You have
we like a lot of the AL Central for whatever reason.
Yeah, which is the worst division in baseball. So like we should
play a lot of it.
Like, so. we should probably reevaluate like what we are doing, but
I think we can take a look and continue to kind of roll with what we're going on. Right. That's fine.
I do like Andrew Vaughn quite a bit, 3,400 there.
All right, let's go on over to second base then. Are you with me here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We got Jonathan India up at top, Mookie Betts, Jose Altuve, Brandon Lowe, Nolan Gorman, kind of that top grouping here. Yes, you can throw Ketel Marte in there, given his lefty splits. If you're looking to spend up at second base here, I threw Nolan Gorman out as my home run call for today, going up against Zach Greinke. You look at all the split numbers for Greinke. Lefties are doing the damage here. He's been terrible on the road. But anybody else catching your eye at the top group?
Not really. It's kind of Gorman, and then move on down to where we get Ozzie Albies at 4,500 against.
Yeah, Ozzie at $4,500 against a lefty, right? Plug and play. I feel like we skimmed through Albies.
We did
on the show this morning.
We sure did. No, we even skipped. We went right past them. We didn't even talk. We did not talk about him because I was building earlier. I'm like, Braves got a lefty. And John and I definitely didn't talk about Ozzie Albies.
Definitely did. I think we went right to Rodolfo. I think that was our problem.
We pretty much did.
Because Sean Manai is the plan long reliever here for tonight, and we're like, Rodolfo Castro versus a lefty, like we're all in, and we just skipped our boy Ozzie Albies here. Listen, Albies at 4,500, great mid-tier spot. Again, I know current form starting to come a little bit out of his slump. Last 10, not great, but what better than getting a lefty here to kind of get you going?
Yeah, I mean, the Braves are a top 1 team against lefties this year. The chart is just full of great. Like, it's the greenest chart you'll ever see in your life if you had this chart that I'm looking at right now. But Ozzie Albies no different. Ozzie Albies, in fact, other than Orlando Arcia, who only has a 27 at-bat sample, by the way, a 682 ISO against lefties for Orlando Arcia. Yeah. Not too bad. 371 ISO leads the team. Higher than Acuna, higher than Riley, higher than Murphy, Azuna, like everyone. And that's just par for the course. Ozzie Albies should just always be batting righty. Yeah. That's just his strong side. So, yeah, Ozzie Albies just feels like a plug-and-play $4,500 for me.
Moving on down, obviously you mentioned Julian. Adam Frazier could be leading off here tonight for Baltimore again. No Cedric Mullins landed on the injured list. They picked up old friend Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, I'm so excited for those games. I can't wait for both of us to
whatever reason. Yeah, he's 27. Julian is 27. Kevin Biggio's 2,300, just obligatory shutout for our guy Kevin Biggio. Anybody else here for you at second base?
No, I like those are my favorite two values for sure.
Okay. Moving on over to the third base position here. Again, guys, if you have any lineup questions, feel free to throw them in, and we'll be more than happy to discuss and break them down for all of you here. Third base, again, kind of loaded. Devers is up at the top. Bregman, Arenado, Jose Ramirez for your top guys. Austin Riley up over 5K as well. Figuring you're in on Atlanta, and we got a lefty on the mound. Austin Riley's probably the number one for you.
Yes, sir. 308 ISO, 416 WOBA against lefties, and he's on fire lately. 359 average, over 1,000 OPS his last 10 games. And we've talked about Austin Riley in this way for a while. He's just so streaky. When he's going good, just get him in. And as much as we've liked JP Sears, because we have liked JP Sears, we don't like the Oakland bullpen, and he just allows a lot of power. Like 274 ISO to righties, that's not going to cut it. A 58% fly ball rate, not going to cut it against right-handed pitching. 41% hard hit rate. He's in trouble here against this Braves lineup, who again is the top hitting offense against lefties.
Yep, I'm with you there. Eugenio against Cortez. Any interest here? 44
tournaments. Yep. If you're in on Seattle, I'd say you'd want to be in on Suarez because he hits lefties. Now, kind of really fallen off a cliff lately, and so if you don't want to include him, that's fine, but he does fit your Seattle stacks if you want.
Sure. 450 slugging for Moncada against righties this year, 760s for OPS. Again, smaller sample size because he was out for a little bit, but hitting fifth. Any interest here in Moncada with Robert and Eloy now back in the lineup?
I think the problem for me, and if you would rather pivot to Moncada, that's fine, is that Jake Berger exists in the world at third base, hitting second for significantly cheaper, and he's been a menace against left-handed pitching. 394 ISO, 418 WOBA this year, 65% fly ball rate. Kyle Anderson has had an issue with righty power, 47% fly ball rate, 38% hard hit rate, 224 ISO allowed, 365 WOBA. The White Sox are very intriguing. If Eloy comes out of his slump that he's kind of been in against lefties, and if Vaughn kind of comes out of his slump that he's been in against lefties, because
Moncada's in 294 against lefties, but no power.
No power.
Absolutely none. So
none. Yeah, but that, we know he's a good player. And if you look at the sample from last year and this year, John, 180 ISO. So last year in a bigger sample, he showed much more power against left-handed pitching, right? So I think it's just Moncada's getting kind of the small sample treatment. But looking at Berger's 2-year splits, 355 ISO, 419 WOBA, he's just, and that's the problem I have with Moncada over Berger.
Sure.
Because I'm saving so much for a guy hitting higher in the lineup and just kind of hitting for more power. It's just seemingly more upside for Jake Berger. So I like Moncada. I just wish him and Berger weren't the same position. The Kirilloff Gallo debate isn't a debate because both are multi-position eligible, you know?
Yep. Other value third basemans, we work our way down. Ventos is hitting fifth tonight, $3,100. Evan Longoria also hitting fifth at $3,100. I know you're not the biggest BVP fan. You were upset when the Austin Riley BVP hit the other day. Kyle Freeland, Evan Longoria, he's got hitting 306 with a 583 slug and 974 OPS off Kyle Freeland. And of course, this year, Evan Longoria against lefties, smashing them again. 520 slug, 865 OPS for Longo, $3,100 there. And then Rivera's hitting second at $2,900. So some good value at third base today. Like we said, there's so much value on today's slate that you can comfortably spend up for some of these top price guys and pitching, because across the board, there's a lot of plays.
Yeah, I actually love the Vientos play at 3,100. I love that the Mets are hitting him fifth too. Holy cow. Do I wish Brett Beatty was in the lineup too? Let the guy hit against lefties. He's never going to be able to hit him if he's not in the lineup. But I do like that two of their top prospects are hitting second and fifth tonight. So kudos to the Mets finally. I actually kind of lean Longoria, even though he's $200 more and hitting lower in the lineup. He's been slightly better then Rivera, especially in the power department against left-handed pitching this year. 240 ISO for Longo, 158 ISO for Rivera. So give me Longo, but like if you're ever on FanDuel and you play util and you wanted to play both Rivera and Longo and you're playing some type of Arizona stack, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. When we're moving on down here, any others, or are we good at third base?
I don't think we need to. You're correct, by the way. Official lineup for the Baltimore Orioles are out, and Adam Frazier is, in fact, leading off.
Sounds good. All right, shortstop here. We made a joke of it, obviously, on the show this morning, and I already have Royce Lewis plugged. So $2,000, gotta play him hitting sixth. I that's just what I'm gonna do tonight. There are people that maybe want to go a little bit different or want to get different stacks in here. So, of course, we'll cover it. When we're looking at this top end tier of guys, Witt, Turner, Bichette, Franco, up over 5K, how would you prioritize them?
Oh, boy. Probably Bichette, who's been the best of late. Like Witt has been primarily good against lefties, although we've seen slight uptick in production. Like he homered yesterday with a righty on the mound, stole a base, so we know he has solid upside. Don't really want to get to Trey Turner at 53. Just doesn't feels like a dead end at this point. Wander, the power has kind of evaporated for him, so like I'd rather just play Bichette for $100 more. I'm just not like about this top tier. If anyone, I'm getting to Bichette. I just don't feel like we have to.
Yeah, Wander's got the stolen base upside there.
Right.
That's definitely in play, and Bichette's got the power. If Turner gets walked, like obviously could have multi stolen bases tonight against Senga. But Witt, I'm not paying 57 for a Witt in the wrong split section for him there. Middle range here, again, Pena against Ryan, probably not where I'm looking to go. Lindor's on the right split side against a lefty for him at 48. Tim Anderson, again, generally hits lefties pretty well. This year he's been just trash, but 47, $100 for him. Like, sure, fine, if they fit stacks for you, like, knock yourself out. But, again, I'm just – none of these guys are as appealing when there's a $2,000 top prospect hitting sixth coming off of a home run in his season debut game on a big slate where you need to find value. So, you know, we'll make stands here and just say, like, play Royce Lewis. Like, don't, be simple, keep it simple. Stupid, I think was the old saying there. So that's kind of where I'm at short tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty much there. And so is the field. He's the second highest projected player of the slate.
Yesterday I played him and he was 15%.
I know.
We thought he was going to be like 60% roster then too. So
I would just really the only other shout I'd give, and I already alluded to it, would be Arcia at 3,500, and it's a small sample, so take it for what it's worth. But a 682 ISO and a 678 WOBA against left-handed pitching. Those are insane numbers. But again,
team that could use that against lefties.
Who?
Milwaukee, where he came from.
True. That is a very valid.
Probably could have helped having some lefty bats in there. And our guy Casey Smith just keeps on hitting as well. If you want to just throw him a bone, as I mentioned. All right, well, we got a lot of time left. We'll break down some outfield, and then we'll make a couple of lineups here tonight for everybody. Our guy Ryan wants to know: are the Cardinals going overlooked here tonight against Greinke? Possibly. I mean, I like Nolan Gorman. We're not overlooking them, but we certainly haven't dove in on Goldschmidt or Arenado. There are probably a couple outfielders that could be in play here tonight. So maybe they're going overlooked here tonight. They're at home,
I mean, just go to Zach Greinke's box score, and just go to his game logs. And I said this to you last stream, maybe the last 3 streams. If you look at this guy, you're like, all the numbers suggest he should be bad. He's had one bad start this year against our Minnesota Twins, which is not surprising because they're the greatest show on earth. there is not a lot of damage against Zach Greinke. Like, sure, there's a couple multi-home run games allowed, but the last last 5 starts, he's allowed 3 home runs total. He hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in his last 5 starts. He is pitching into games, and in all those starts, 6 runs total is the most that him and his team has allowed. Like,
Yeah.
The lefties are where I'd go.
Yep.
Righties are not doing anything against him. 265 WOBA, 120 ISO. And maybe that's something that's, going to regress, but no, I don't think they're going overlooked. If you want to play one-offs for lefties as Nolan Gorman or like Brendan Donovan or Burleson, be my guest. But I just don't think the righties profile it's not like Nolan Arenado's hitting righties this year. He's has a 116 ISO and 284 WOBA against them. Like, I don't know. If you want to go there, you can. He's just been as much as we want to stack against Zach Greinke, and we've wanted to the last couple of years, he's just not giving up a lot of damage.
He doesn't throw hard enough, so
I know.
they just get bad contact on him. It seems like most of the time. So I'm with you there. Again, I like Nolan Gorman as a one-off home run play today, but I haven't really done much with Colorado, or not Colorado, but St. Louis here tonight. Jeremy Williams in chat says Jorge Soler versus a lefty tonight. We're on outfield.
Not on the main slate. Well, not on the main slate.
No, not on the main slate. Well, then there you go. Home run call, though, maybe. Home run call for
home run. Yeah, that could be the home run call, Jeremy. If you head over my Twitter, I have a home run thread out right now. If you want to give us a shout there.
Jorge Soler for home run here tonight is plus 260.
I think those are the best odds. I think the only person I saw under 300, I saw Trout plus 290 today. I wonder if Soler has the best odds of homer. He's homered every time he's faced a lefty, his last 6 games or something absurd.
Yeah. Well, they were just in course too, and he was just eating that alive. Doing a quick scan here. Anybody under plus 3? Devers plus 350, but that's not under plus 3.
Buxton was plus 300 on the graphic that I put out there on my Twitter today.
Okay.
Austin Riley was
Jake Burgers plus 300.
Woohoo up, John.
I'm just saying. I know. Ohtani plus 310.
Trout plus 290, right?
Yeah. Trout 290. Buxton's 310. Actually, I think Trout would move. Trout's plus 280 now.
Ooh, and
Joey Gallo plus 290.
Ooh.
Jordan is plus 275. So far, that's the best odds today off Giolito. Let's see. Anybody? Ronald Acuna plus 275 off Sears. That is... Oh, here we go. Aaron Judge, of course, plus 225 for homer tonight.
There you go.
That's your guy. Teoscar's plus 275?
Dude, I always say this.
I know.
He has the best odds all the time. Well, the best chance DraftKings is giving, the sports books are giving him the best chance of all Mariners to hit a home run against a lefty, because he was insane against them last year, and he's been insane again this year. And what's the one thing that Nestor has struggled with this year? Righty power. He struggled mightily with righty power, and we're going to get there to the outfield.
Yeah, we're on the outfield.
We're here.
So,
we're here.
I mean, Judge and Acuna, as we just mentioned, both under plus 300 for homers today. Both up over 6K. Ohtani was another one there, plus 310. Jordan was at plus 275 at $6,100. Trout was plus 280 at 6K. So your top guys all up over 6K. Ohtani's the only one with a home run odd over 300. So, maybe that ranks him last for you today.
I don't know how you rank them. I mean, I'm surprised Jordan. I mean, I know he's obviously an elite player, and he's has a bunch of home runs lately. But Joe Ryan is clearly the best pitcher of this, of the guys that are in this 6K tier. So I'm surprised he has the third best home run odds today, truthfully. I would probably rank Jordan last for me in this tier, truthfully. Yeah,
I mean, Joe Ryan, obviously one of the tougher pitchers to go up against for sure. All of those guys are in play now. Pick whenever you want, build your lineup around. mark here, they cut JD's price. He's got 365 ISO against right-handed pitching.
He sure does.
Absolutely smoking righties here for sure, and likely going to find his way into a couple of lineups. And then Jeremy saying Teoscar also has the best numbers. I didn't look any BVP here, but obviously they both played in the AL East, so probably makes sense that Teoscar's also got some decent BVP here.
I mean, just 4 for 10.
4 for 10.
Yeah. Nothing. Jeremy, truthfully, like 10 at-bat samples are something that we could just leave alone. It's just there's too much variance for a 10 at-bat sample.
Yeah. I mean, nobody else has more than 7 ABs. Ty France is 2 for 7. So, I'm 4 for 10. Good. You got the experience there. But, yeah, the power numbers for Teoscar against lefties on the year. 549 slug, 780 OPS this year. But last year, like you mentioned, 648, 978 against lefties. So good spots there. Under 6K. I don't want to pay for Yoshida at 59.
Nope.
Rodriguez is 56. He's plus 400 to home Ralph Cortez. Buxton here at $5,600 in 4th. I know we're going to be in on some Twins stacks, and he's got to be in that lineup with all the value that's there for sure. Where else are you going tonight in the 5K tier?
Byron Buxton. You like that one? That's what I called him today. Byron Buxton.
Buxton?
Yeah, he's gonna dunk. He's gonna home run.
Like Bucks BUX or like Bucks like dollars?
I like both, honestly. Yeah. I like your pivot to because he's gonna make us the dollars tonight. I like Mookie Betts 5,500. There's negative regression coming for Jake Irvin against righties. I like the entire Dodgers lineup, truthfully. Mookie Betts. The rest of the 5K tier, though, I don't. I think it's J-Rod, it's Buxton, it's Betts, and then move on down to the next tier of guys where like Luis Robert and JD Martinez sit at $4,600.
I gotta say, it brought a tear to my eye to see Lane Thomas at $4,800.
I wouldn't say great. He's kind of been worth it though.
Definitely been worth it. I want to say that you and I discovered him last year.
Yep.
Obviously better against lefties than righties, but just like saw the $4,800 and took a nice little deep breath there.
Took a walk outside. You had to take a walk out. Rebecca, I'm taking the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you okay, John?
Yeah.
They raced Lane Thomas's price.
Our boys made it. Our boys made it. So. Josh Lowe's 49 home run speed. Louis Robert $4,600 against Anderson, and JD Martinez 4,600. I mean, listen, you've talked about JD Martinez lately.
The power is back.
Everybody thought he was done. Everybody thought he was about to go to pasture, right? Go to the farm, and instead 372, 1238, 860 slugged the last 10 with 6 homers.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Yeah, no. It's. I mean, this is like. He was doing this. I'll never forget, like 4 seasons ago when he did this against lefties.
When he was on the Red Sox.
Dude, he had like a 1,700 OPS against lefties for an entire year. And I was like, well, I'm just going to actually plug him in every single slate he faces a lefty. I'm going to play him. This is what he's doing now. He leads the team in ISO. He's like 0.02 percentage points behind Freddie Freeman for WOBA. There's really nothing not to like about JD Martinez right now. And again, like the power has been on full display.
2019, he had almost a 900 slugging for the year.
Yes.
Against left-handed.
It's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, if he's going to hit for power like this in a spot that a guy has, no business being, no offense to Jake Irvin, he's just kind of outmatched out there. I mean, again, his surface numbers against righties look fine, but then it's a 243 average, 579 xFIP. There's going to be regression coming in a big way. Give me all the Dodgers tonight, JD Martinez included. And if you're playing White Sox at the same price, Luis Robert hitting third is, plugs into your stack as well.
I agree. Lourdes in the lineup tonight. Thank you, Arizona, for not pulling him out after a home run. $4,400 against Kyle Freeland here. Another guy that hits lefties pretty well. I know we like Arizona here tonight as one of those stacks here. Moving down into the value tier, you mentioned Gallows at 4K. Certainly a guy that's going to find his way into some lineups. Teoscar's $3,800. Power potential for sure. Conforto still hitting, still on fire. Got Oviedo. We didn't talk much San Francisco here tonight. But Conforto stays hot. And then again, Mark in the chat bringing up our guy Eloy at $3,200. Homered last night, coming back now. A couple of RBIs in both of the games since his return here. We thought he was too cheap before the injury. And he was just like look at this. They had 5 straight games of double-digit fantasy points. They never touched his price tag. He just was $3,100. Comes back. He was 20. He was 3,200 when his return. He's 3,600 and he homers and goes 2 for 4. Now he's 3,200 tonight. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, Eloy again, a great value play here tonight. Kirilloff's there at 32 as well. So a story not to overlook. Our guy likely to steal a bag more than anybody here on the slate. So certainly can. And then Jack Swinski, multi-homer games in 2 of the last 4. And again, I know he's going to get Manaea at some point, but at least maybe for an at-bat, he's not. So if you want to chase some home runs, there's that as well.
I will just throw James Outman into the mix too, $3,700. The Dodgers lineup just came out. They're getting Muncy back tonight as well. Good. I love that because lefties have killed Jake Irvin, hitting 3rd. So if you want to get to Muncy, no Will Smith. So just go flood back to your Alvarez and Moreno's at catcher.
Which is better for you, right? Because now you can save money on catcher. So
yes, definitely better. But Outman hitting 7th tonight. I know he has struggled. Not going to say he hasn't. There's been a lot of strikeouts. That's obviously been the issue. But Irvin, sub 20% strikeout rate. And this year against righties for Outman, 269 ISO, 328 WOBA. He's done all of his damage against righties and lefties against Jake Irvin this year. 367 WOBA, 250 ISO, 56% fly ball rate, 40% hard hit rate. So that's also touting Outman, Muncy, Jason Hayward tonight hitting 5th. Did I just see JD Martinez? Okay, JD Martinez 4th. Crisis averted. JD Martinez is in the lineup.
Disaster.
Is in the lineup hitting 4th. Hayward 5th. David Peralta 6th. Outman 7th. So like a lot of lefties kind of stacked after JD Martinez. I can literally get to all of them. But first 2 people in every lineup I built today was Eloy and Royce O'Neal and Royce Lewis.
Royce Lewis and Eloy, the first 2 guys. I like it. Yep. Jake McCarthy has a lefty here, but I just shout out to our guy. 2 stolen bases, 2 hits yesterday.
Yep.
On his way back into glory. Make of anything Brendan Donovan leading off here tonight? $2,800.
No.
Okay.
I mean, he fits into like he's a lefty against Greinke, but if you want to play lefties against Greinke, that's fine. I'd rather just play Braves value down here. If we're just talking about guys that are sub 3K, Marcell Ozuna has been really good against lefties and lately, and then Kevin Pillar. I mean, we
is Ozuna going to be in the lineup tonight? Do we know? I'm looking at a projected lineup that doesn't even have him in it.
We don't have a lineup official, but maybe he sits. Either way, if he is not, we pivot to Pillar, 229 ISO for Pillar.
This lineup does have Harris. Well, he DHs, right? Ozuna, he's not going to play outfield.
Yeah, he would have
They're double catchering in this projected lineup, Darno and Murphy. So
okay, well that would make sense. That would make sense.
We'll see what happens there. Anybody else for value for you?
No, just Pillar at 21, and then that's really it. He's 221 ISO.
Cappy is leading off at 22 for Boston tonight.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, it's a really good price for a leadoff hitter, right? He led off I think he led off the 26th, and he had the 2 hits and RBI, like 8 fantasy points. Like that's not bad.
They're back in Boston where the Red Sox offense has really lit it up this year. So all right, let's build our lineup. I got Lewis and Martinez already plugged in. You like Eloy as well?
I mean, he's two.
All right, and then I guess we're gonna go Buxton probably, right? A little reverse build here.
Probably.
All right. So we got our outfield and our shortstop set. Let's go to pitcher.
So I'm assuming you and I are going to either go Bayo or Gibson as our SP2. And I don't care which one. We might have to go Bayo if we need the extra salary.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll Gibson, I think.
I think so as well. Not to say Bayo's not a good play because he's a good play, but I
Gibson
think
feels safer.
Yes.
Right. So I like that. Now, are we spending all the way up, or do you feel comfortable with Bryce Elder at $9,300?
I'm okay going McClanahan, Gallen, Elder, any of those directions. I don't have I think McClanahan and Gallen have a higher ceiling than Elder.
I mean, we're pretty good here. McClanahan, Gibson with Alvarez at catcher.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be short on
$4,200 for first, second, and third baseman. And I know we had other value.
Kirilloff at first, and then Albies, probably Albies at second, 45.
Yeah.
Does that get us Riley?
Does it?
Or are we 100 off? I think we're 100 off Riley. So that maybe gets it. So we could probably pivot to Zach Gallen from.
I mean, that works. That works for me. So we got there's our twins, little twin stack there, right? The 4, 5, 6. Right? 4, 5, 6 Minnesota. We got an Albies Riley mini stack here. We got a one-off JD Martinez play for the power. We got a one-off Eloy Jimenez there as well. So guys, we're going to be in the Discord again till roster lock tonight, 7 o'clock, 7:05 Eastern time. So any additional lineup questions that you have in there, get in the Discord. If you're not yet a member of our Fantasy Alarm family, you see the scroll down at the bottom. But if you're just tuning in, if you're just listening, right now, promo code MLB50, you'll save 50% off the first 6 months. That's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. Going to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. And that gets you access to all of our content. It's not just the MLB DFS content. It includes the NBA DFS, the NHL DFS as those finish out their finals this week. PGA is still going on. MMA is going on. NASCAR is going on. Includes WNBA coverage as well. The NFL season is coming before you know it. If you sign up and get the All-Pro package here, you're going to get everything included. That includes our draft guide. So you're ready for the draft guide to come out. Your fantasy football draft guide season's coming on. You can sign up and get part of the All-Pro package for that as well. We're running best ball drafts. We got a whole bunch of things going on with the family. For those who have signed up and are subscribers, you can draft with myself, Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper, James Grande, Justin Reeland, Colby Conway. You name it, we're in there drafting with you guys some best ball drafts leading into the fantasy football season. So really no better time than now to sign up and join again to get 50% off that first 6 months. Oh, yeah, we have a 7-day free trial included in all of that also. So sign up. If you don't like it, 7 days, we'll see you later. But I think you'll stick around. So that's it for James and I. We'll be back tomorrow, 6-game slate. We'll be breaking it all down.